I'm about to start a blitz game on Lichess, and it gives me 24 seconds to play my first move. Can a person prepare against a random opponent online in 24 seconds or less? Well, after I finish this game, I'll show you how it's done. If you're watching this, you already have Chess Openings Wizard Professional for either Windows or Macintosh. So let's see if we can really prepare against an online opponent in less than 24 seconds. So right now you're looking at the inside of the program it's running right now. This is Chess Openings Wizard Professional Build 130. It's a beta version. It has a new function called Prepare Against Online Opponent. But before I tease you with that, let's take a look at the ebooks we have available, because I'm going to use them for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to pretend for this demo that I am Magnus Carlsen. I'm about to prepare against some guy. I've just learned his handle a second ago online. And so I already have this set up is the idea, right? So I'm going to set my white repertoire as Carlsen as white. And so this is the one I'll be using, right? This is actually an ebook that comes with Chess Openings Wizard. It has all of Carlsen's game where he played white, so you can see how he played and play against him if you like. So he plays all kinds of things. We can't tell what his current repertoire is, but he could be playing anything he played from the past. Of interest here would be how he plays the English, let's say. So c4 and e6 and just happens to be the first move in his repertoire. And then at this point, he can play a number of moves. Let's say he's in the mood to play g3 today. So let's take a look at this position and remember that English, e6, g3, and then d5 is the only candidate move played by about 53 different opponents according to this. Most likely those are unique games from back solving. So that'll be our repertoire is white for today. Let's now go to games, prepare against online opponent to see if we can get it done in 24 seconds after it's set up, of course. So the first thing we need to do is are we preparing for white or black? It's going to take us about a half second to choose white. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to prepare for white. And against our opponent, who is this guy going to be? Well, let's say I just found his handle online. His handle is Book Up, a fellow grandmaster. Yeah, that's the ticket. So I can get my games from Lichess in this case. That's where I'm about to play. I can also get them from chess.com. I don't have that running yet. I'm still working with their API. But right now, Lichess is working. Number of games. Let's just concentrate on maybe the last 20 games this guy has played as black because I'm preparing for white. I can choose which time controls. Say I'm playing bullet or blitz. I may not be interested in what he plays in other time controls because he might have a specialized repertoire for bullet. So I can select just those if I want. Here's where I select my white repertoire. I'll click here, and since I'm Magnus Carlsen, I will pick Carlsen as white. And for black repertoire, similarly, I'll pick Carlsen as black. So my repertoires are set. Those are the ones that will pop up. If I'm preparing for white, this will be the one that pops up automatically. If I'm preparing for black, this one automatically. Now, what if I want my games, or the games from this opponent that I'm about to pick on, to come into a PGN file, so I can also research him the old-fashioned way by looking at his games. I can say, let's create a new PGN file, and it's going to go in the eBooks Games folder. I will call it maybe Demo 1 or something, so we can keep track of it. So we now have Demo 1 capturing his 20 games as black because we're preparing for white. And look down here. There is a checkbox labeled Add New Moves Made by Opponent. I may not want the moves from my opponent that I'm about to play to come into my repertoire because that may confuse me, even though if he played a move, I probably should be prepared for it. It probably should be in my repertoire because that's the kind of move somebody like this guy would play, right? But I'm going to leave that checked, but I can always uncheck it if I don't want my repertoire changed by bringing in opponent moves. So let's say I just got paired against this guy on Lichess, and I'm given 24 seconds to do this. So I immediately take 1 second to flip over to Chess Openings Wizard, 1 second to click on maybe prepare for white, half second to type in or paste in Book Up and click OK and see what happens. It goes out to Lichess, grabs those 20 games, imports them into a shadow file, and brings up the right repertoire where I can immediately start preparing. And sure enough, look at there. Let's just rewind so we can see all the work that it really did, but it brought us right to this point where we left off. Let's say, well, we're looking at what my opponent's been facing recently, but we don't care that he's been facing d4 most recently and then e4 and c4 less or so. We're just concerned with, I want to play the English today. So I click on c4. He always plays e6 and has played it most recently because there's no other tags on any other move, right? So I click on e6 because it would have added them, remember, if it was a new move. So he plays e6. And he's always faced g3 here. So, and I'm willing to play g3 because that's in my white repertoire, so I play it as Carlsen. And now look what happened. d5 used to be the only candidate move in my repertoire. It auto-magically added the move from the most recent game, that's why it's a big red arrow, from my opponent. So I can pretty much think that, well, based on his most recent games and what I'm ready to play, this is the position we're probably going to land in. The last time, White faced him off with bishop g2. I may not want to play bishop g2. I may play something else in my repertoire if I'm preparing differently. But right now, I'm preparing against him in our most likely position. And if I weren't rambling about it, I probably would have landed here in a total of 10 to 12 seconds, leaving me another 12 to 14 seconds to prepare. So what if I wanted to prepare the old-fashioned way? Remember that PGN file I talked about? Let's go to the Games menu and choose Select Game Files to see which game files are selected. And sure enough, my regular game files are there, but it also added this one, the Demo 1 PGN. Let's search it. Let's not search the other files right now. Let's search only the 20 games I know landed in that PGN file. Click on Search for Games. And I won't put any kind of search constraints in. Just let them all come in. It wants to index it. That'll take about a second and a half. 2 seconds and it's done. It put 20 games in the list. Let's move that down so you can see it. And there they are. And now I can say, well, what did he play in the A40 category? And I can also, copy and paste that link into Lichess if I want to look at it online. But right now I can just load this game. Again, move that game window down so you can see it. And use an engine and see what he's been playing in all the games he's played recently. So this also allows me to prepare against him the old-fashioned way by spying on his games.